So if you hold any XRP, watch this before Friday. Haven't seen this one yet.
To ensure rate cuts are coming from the Federal Reserve this month in September.
So yeah, September rate cuts have been something that has been a lot of eyes on, but there's going to be a lot more rate cut dates. We will get this one. I feel like it's priced in at this point.
Of 2025. Now, in today's video, we're going to highlight what to look forward to when the jobs report comes out in terms of what the Feds will kind of comprehend based off that report, and why I think the market is about to prepare for a significant bull run starting from the moment the rate cuts begin mid-September going into end of September, then October all the way through the end of 2025. But just remember, as always, never financial advice. Just trying to put you guys on the plays that I'm in. If you're new around here, smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm, and also consider subscribing to the channel. So let's go ahead and dive right in. The market is pulling back today.
So yeah, September has always been known to be a bit more shaky, especially for XRP and all other altcoins. It is not too worrying for me because we are kind of expecting months like these. We cannot have only positive months. And it's also September is usually when people take their profit to return back later. That's literally what happens. People take their profit when XRP and all cryptos go super up.
Again, we had a really nice rally yesterday during market open, and basically that entire 8-hour period, Bitcoin hovered above 112K for a little while, 112.5, and now everything has pretty much retraced, especially World Liberty 5, which is Trump's team's coin, seeing a lot of sell-off happening over there. But we're here to talk about XRP and why I am extremely bullish going into tomorrow's news. Now, update for position, we're currently down about 9.24% on our position for XRP.
So yeah, he's holding like today's gains 300, balance $15,000 of XRP. So yeah, being that down isn't too scary for me. Like fear and greed index at 44%. I feel like when you look at the weekly basis, of course, that's normal to go down, right? People are saying the price is going down. Yeah, if you're looking at like 1 week basis, now go to a 1 year chart. And months go by fast. And then we have interest rate cuts, which might boost XRP a bit, but not really that much.
Specifically. This is from Virginia EDU.
In my opinion, yeah.
Foster. Friday's job report could determine whether the Federal Reserve finally cut interest rates. The monthly release from the Bureau of Labor Statistics is one of the most closely watched economic indicators for the U.S. economy. And this week's numbers arrive shortly before the Federal Open Market Committee, or the FOMC meeting, which is scheduled for September 16th through the 17th, which again, it's only 12 days away. While Federal Chair Jerome Powell's Jackson Hole speech raised expectations for a September rate cut, he stressed the decision hinges on seeing the latest jobs reports and inflation data, because what their concerns were during the Jackson Hole meeting was inflation is still not where they want it to be at that 2% goal or a little bit above. Especially after PPI numbers came out, there was a lot of fear in the market, and that's why we saw a big sell-off from a new all-time high for Bitcoin. But most importantly, even though the Feds do look at inflation, they also look at how is the economy. And one of the indicators they look at is the jobs reports. How many people are seeking employment versus how many people are actually currently employed. There are signs that the labor market is weakening, and July's report showed employers added 73,000 jobs, the weakest gains in years, while revisions erased more than 250,000 positions from the months of May and June. The unemployment rate rose to 4.2%, and the labor force continued to shrink. Together, the figures raised doubts about the labor market's resilience at a moment when inflation remains stuck above the federal's 2% target. So
yeah, that's what they want to improve for some time, and what they have been really waiting for a long time. But this is what people have been kind of expecting now and waiting for a year. And that's why I feel it really won't change the prices that much as people think. For this exact reason. It needs to go down anyway. The price might just correct itself back to the prices it should be with the inflation, that is.
Again, with everything being said and the direction we're heading, is they would rather see, instead of the market in terms of jobs going to zero, not having a strong labor market at all. They would rather lowest interest rates, which then gets businesses kind of bailed out in a sense, because it helps them afford, refinance, do what they have to do to get more people into their doors as employees.
Wouldn't it also be better for real estate because you get interest rates lower, which means you're getting like a loan easier? Instead of paying like 5%, you pay like 2%. And if you do like $5, $10 million, $100 million loan, whatever these billionaires do, it probably pays off long term to keep building it. It keeps the economy more productive if you think of it that way.
But they've held rates steady for such a long time now at an increased rate that a lot of businesses did foreclose. A lot of businesses aren't able to transact because they're just not able to leverage. And that's how a lot of these businesses utilize financials in the United States. They take money that isn't theirs, or they use borrowing power to then increase their businesses, increase their employee workforce, and more thereover. Inflation is also a worry. The core personal consumption expenditures price index, which includes food and energy in the Fed's preferred inflation gauge, showed that the core...
So I feel like people are going to be spending a lot Q4, and then 2026, people will be buying crypto less, in my prediction, because, again, this is my personal prediction. It's not financial advice. But what happens is people spend a lot more for Christmas, and then they stop spending in January, February, March, including like gifts for themselves, like crypto, like buying themselves a crypto gift as an investment. That's what happens on your end.
Inflation ran to 2.9% seasonally adjusted annual rate back in July. The reading met estimates, but it's higher than the month of June. To unpack what's behind the numbers, and then you can kind of look more into this report. What I want to make sure everybody understands and realizes is this economy is very, very tricky. And that's why traders are so confused. Because one thing is telling the Feds to, yes, reduce rates because of the labor markets. But they're also basically telling them hold rates steady where they're at, and maybe even increase rates to a certain extent because of where inflation is. You're in this very bimodal distribution of economics where it makes the macro climate so confusing. And that's why people are just...
I don't think they will increase rates. Like, people have been calling for rate cuts. There's no reason to increase them. They're already super, super high. And no change. He literally hinted he's going to do rate cuts. So I don't know why that would happen. It's a very clear choice with how the economy is to actually cut the rates, to increase the economy.
So hesitant. And of course, with what's happening over in the political end with Donald Trump and his volatility, especially with the things that he's mentioning and saying, just about everything, whether it's the war in Ukraine and Russia, what's happening in the Middle East with Palestine and Israel, whatever it might be, we just continue to see this lack of abilities of just giving us some kind of clear runway forward, and tariffs, spooking the market time and time again. And at this point, people are just calling it whatever and basically ignoring anytime we hear tariff tweets or tariff.
I mean, the tariffs have obviously been good for the economy. Trump got better rates. Trump got more money out of it, which is another video I'm going to be making. But it's very clear that a lot of the news that people are afraid of and saying, okay, it's over for crypto because of this. It was nothing. It was really like the economy right now, the productivity is super high. Nothing can stop this. At least everything is pointing out to another indicator, and that's what I'm hoping for.
Coming on the Truth Social platform. Benjamin Cohen talked about initial claims today. The actual was 237,000, 7,000 more initial claims than the estimated. And prior, again, for unemployment claims, 229K.
So it's not that big of a change, 8,000 people.
Is from ADP. So again, the labor force is weakening more than expectations. But when it comes to a technical analysis of the cryptocurrency market, you guys know I love the take from Crypto Currently because he's been spot on basically this whole year. BTC is stuck between two of its trading ranges. We are below the 112K low of our most recent range. And yes, we are above the 109K high of our old range. And any chop here is noise until we enter either range. I'm expecting a reclaim to the upside. So again, market is shaking. Nobody is doubting that. Investor sentiment is extremely fearful, more so than the fear and greed index basically telling us that we're neutral.
I mean, I don't agree with that. I just feel like, if you look at the market data, September will always be super, super down anyway. So I'm not too fearful. And September is obviously like this always. Historically speaking, every 4 years, September after rate cuts, Ethereum is down, Bitcoin is down, XRP is down. We haven't had a history after the, not rate cuts, but yeah, actually after the rate cuts, after the halving, where Septembers were bearish. So this is why I'm not afraid.
No apparent transparent information that is seen from the market's perspective. But when everybody's overly excited and overly hyped, that's a sign that we're entering a top signal. And when everyone is fearful, spooked, and scared, that's the time that we need to start looking at what position am I going to double down into. Everything is down on the week, so you're getting in at a discount. Bitcoin is down 10%. Or 2%. We're seeing XRP down 6% on the week. Solana down.
I mean, Bitcoin was $20,000 and nobody wanted to buy it. XRP was 10 cents. Nobody wanted to buy it. So this is like very easy to say, but it's very hard to predict when crypto is going to be like all-time high and when it's going to be all-time low. A lot of people say, yeah, just buy when it's the top, bro. And it's not that easy. XRP, nobody predicted it would be at $3. But yeah.